The Batman from 2004 continues to be awesome. Hello, welcome back to Reamlore. It's been a while since we talked about Batman. I've just been busy with other stuff, but we're back now talking about the rest of Season 2. We're going to be talking about episodes 6 through 10. Wasting no time with this one, I'm Rocko from Reamlore, and let's dive in. By the way, if you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. We upload videos just like this one on our Reamlore channel. We upload a great new video every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 3 p.m., so make sure you're subscribed with that bell pressed to get notified when we upload. The Batman Season 2, Episode 6, Pets. We open in a scientist's lab where he is testing a new device which controls birds. He hears something at the window and opens it to find a bunch of awful birds flying in, including the owl that works for the Penguin. Batman stops this and grabs the bird. They all gang up on him, but in the commotion, the device gets destroyed. Batman picks up the remains as the owl steals another control device. Only this one wasn't for a bird, it was for a bat. The birds return to Penguin with the device, and we have to bring back the Arkham escape counter. Because last time we saw Penguin, Batman had him chained up, so he was definitely sent to jail. So the board now rolls up to 8. Penguin starts yelling at his birds, saying they are worthless and show off their replacement. A rare condor so vicious even he can't train it. With the sonic device though, he can control the bird. He activates the device and tries to control the condor, saying come to me, but he doesn't respond. We also catch up with Kirk Langstrom in Arkham Asylum, writing formulas on the wall and saying that once he creates his serum, Man-Bat will rule Gotham. Kirk then hears Penguin's call from the sonic device and it transforms him into the Man-Bat. He breaks out of Arkham, so I'll bring back the board. It rolls up to 9, and he finds Penguin. Penguin freaks out, but quickly realizes he can control Man-Bat with the sonic device. I will also give them credit, they actually showed us how Man-Bat got out. Most villains don't get that kind of treatment when they return. At the Batcave, Bruce says he couldn't track down the birds and wonders why Penguin was doing a tech robbery when his MO is usually riches. He gets an alert about a break-in at the bank, and while on the way, Alfred gets an intruder alert at the Batcave. It turns out to be a raccoon though, so Batman continues on and finds Man-Bat stealing from the bank. Man-Bat wants to kill Batman, but Penguin calls him back with the money, and Batman follows with his awesome jetpack. They have a great fight scene in the air as Penguin tells Man-Bat to get rid of Batman. He destroys Batman's jetpack and flies off with the money as Bats figures out the Penguin is behind this. Penguin puts Man-Bat in a cage and tells him to rest, which transforms him back into Kirk. Kirk sees Penguin's device and figures out that the sonic waves it emits resonated with his sonic detection and activated dormant Man-Bat cells in his system, which is how he transformed back. Penguin doesn't care about any of that and just wants Man-Bat so he can continue getting cash, but Kirk swears the first chance he gets, he is going to kill Penguin. Yeah, Batman's villains never get along. In the Batcave, Bruce figured out how the sonic device worked and fixed the bird one. He thinks if they can capture Man-Bat's frequency, they can free the guy, and plans to use Wayne Industries to lay some bait. Penguin sees the bait, a golden penguin statue arriving in Gotham. He finds the crate and orders Man-Bat to steal it as Batman is listening in, telling Alfred to translate the frequency. Man-Bat grabs the golden statue, but it's too heavy and it smashes to the ground, showing that this was a fake filled with bowling balls. Penguin sees Batman and orders Man-Bat to attack. Alfred finished the frequency and is about to send it to Bats, but the raccoon chews through a wire and shuts down the power. Yeah, the raccoon thing is dumb and we could have cut that out. Batman and Man-Bat fight with Batman getting the advantage because they're on the ground. He tricks Man-Bat into a confined space, but it only stalls him as Man-Bat corners Batman. Fortunately for the Caped Crusader, Alfred restored the power, trapped the raccoon, and sent the frequency to Batman. Batman tells Man-Bat to bring Penguin back to him. Batman captures both bad guys and returns to the Batcave victorious. Alright, that's the end of this episode, but how does it rank? Characterization, I'm giving it 2. The characters are not well depicted in this, other than Penguin, who shows off he's really despicable. The story, I'm giving a 4. It's a strong story with a cool, interesting narrative, plus they actually show us Man-Bat breaking out of prison instead of him just running around. Entertainment, I'm giving a 4. It was pretty fun, not gonna lie. The classic reluctant villain team up, well, I guess enslavement, but it makes for great moments. Importance, I'm giving a 1. It is the return of Man-Bat, but really this feels like another Penguin episode, which you can honestly skip, unless you're a fan of the Man-Bat. Yes, now we're getting to the good stuff. Episode 7, Meltdown. We open at Arkham Asylum where the orderlies are working. One of them is bringing Joker some medicine and it turns out it was Clayface. Yes! Spoilers now, this is one of the best episodes of the Batman, continuing on the Clayface storyline. Let's go! Clayface is here to get revenge on Joker and Joker has no idea who this is. Yeah, this is the first time seeing Ethan with his makeover. Clayface tries to kill Joker with spikes and swords, but Batman rolls in to save him. Yeah, the other orderly was Batman in disguise. Bat says he's here to help Clayface and throws a free freezing capsule at the guy, freezing him in place. While this was happening, Joker escapes with the orderly disguise Batman was wearing. So bring back the Arkham escape counter, it rolls up to 10, but in this instance, I don't care because the story is so good. We have a really good scene next, and it is Ethan's trial as Clayface. The defense called Yin to the stand, and she catches us up on the Clayface story, making the case that the mental torture and chemicals Joker exposed Ethan to made him do those things. The defense then calls the senior psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum Professor Hugo Strange. Yes! You all know already, but Hugo Strange is a great villain in Batman's Rogues Gallery. A little lesser known than the other famous bad guys, but he is one of my favorites, especially this version. He is played by, believe it or not, Frank Gorshin, the same guy who played Riddler in the Adam West Batman show. The amount of legends they got for this cartoon is insane. They really got an all-star cast. Frank's take on the character too is just the best. He speaks in this slow, creepy voice, and he has this elegant speech that makes everything he says sound important. Hugo tells the court that Ethan is obviously suffering from mental turmoil, both from the Joker's chemicals and torture, but also from the abuse he suffered at the police force, which does not make Chief Rojas happy. Hugo ends his testimony by saying after their many sessions, Ethan is now better mentally and is ready to rejoin society. Dr. Mark Desmond, head of Wayne Tech Biomed, steps up next and says they have been unable to cure Ethan, but they learn the Clayface cells go into remission if he doesn't use his powers. Essentially, if he doesn't use his powers for a long time, they'll eventually go away. Bruce is the last one to take the stand and says he trusts Ethan like a brother even now and is prepared to offer him a job today as head of security at Wayne Industries. Another shining example of why this version of The Dark Knight is one of, if not my absolute favorite take on Batman. The trial ends with the judge giving his final statement. Ethan will be released on probation with the asterisk he will continue his therapy, not use his powers, and take tests to make sure he's not using them. Chief Rojas storms out because he's a piece of trash as Ethan reunites with his friends. It's such a nice moment. You feel glad after what happened, Ethan is able to put his life back together. Bruce takes Ethan to Wayne Industries security room and shows this is not going to be a picnic as there is a lot of Wayne Industries, including millions of dollars worth of art. They meet Weber, the day shift supervisor, and Bruce leaves Ethan to his job as Weber says it must be nice to have a billionaire buddy to fix his mistakes. Great storytelling, by the way. You can already see what this episode is going to be about, as the other guards refuse to make eye contact with Ethan because they are scared. Ethan gets coffee with Yin where he admits he misses being a cop, fighting for justice, keeping people safe, but Yin reminds him what the job did to him. Ethan tells Yin even though it was tough, it was his identity, who he was, and that's tough to just give up. Ethan also hears the whispers of everyone in the coffee shop, people saying they shouldn't have let Clayface out, and all of this makes Ethan wish he could just disappear. While at the grocery store, Ethan sees Chief Rojas nearby and transforms into another person to avoid him. Later, he's mad with himself because if they found out he used his powers, they would throw him back in jail, but quietly admits it was fun avoiding Rojas. Ethan turns on the TV to get his mind off things and sees a news report about Joker stealing again. The news reporter asking who can stop Joker. Ethan goes into work early the next day, secretly working to find the Joker. After his chemical test, Ethan goes up to a roof and sees Joker running around with more stolen goods. Ethan pins him to the wall, but Joker throws them both off the building, stopping his fall with robotic shoes. He drops Ethan to the ground and goes splat, reverting to Clayface to save himself. I also want to mention this has been one of the only times we've seen Joker in his straitjacket outfit. Normally he's always wearing the suit, and I'm happy to see it again. Joker figures out Ethan and Clayface are the same as they get into a pretty cool fight, with both of them on stilts. Joker escapes into the sewer as Batman takes Clayface away from the scene. He transforms back into Ethan and Batman tells him that was wrong. Ethan says he tracked down the Joker, not Clayface. He just reared his ugly head. Ethan was on that rooftop earlier because he figured out that's where Joker was going to be. Ethan says he's not trying to get revenge. This is about making sure what Joker did to him never happens to anyone else, which makes Batman remember the vow he made to his parents. Of course, Ethan is still out for revenge though, or rather he wants to feel like he's doing something good again, which is not good because he keeps turning into Clayface. Batman lets Ethan go but tells him he will deal with the Joker. The next day, Bruce confronts Ethan, saying that the doctor found his Clayface cells active again. Bruce convinced the doctor not to be hasty and bust his parole, but warns Ethan as his friend if he uses his powers anymore, he might permanently become Clayface. Ethan admits that he slipped and it won't happen again. Later that night, while on guard duty, Wayne Industries gets a visit from the Joker who attacks Weber. Ethan sees this on the camera, but instead of ringing the alarm, he goes down to stop Joker himself. Weber does hit the alarm though, which alerts Bruce as Clayface attacks Joker. They are joined by Batman, who asks Clayface why he's here. Clayface explains since there are no cameras here, he thought he could get away with being Clayface as he and Batman stop the Joker. Batman asks Clayface to give up, but he says now they have to fight. Because Batman saw him, he needs to get rid of the witness. Batman tries to reason with Clayface, but it's not working. Batman tries the ice capsule again, but Clayface was ready this time. He starts slamming Batman around, and Joker tells Clayface he makes a much better villain than Vigilante. Clayface actually agrees and takes the valuables Joker stole and doesn't respond to Batman calling him by his real name. Clayface tries to make a run for it, but Yin arrives to stop him from stealing. Batman arrives and says it's not too late, but Ethan says it is too late. He goes into this deep, awesome dialogue, saying that being Ethan Bennett is hard, but being Clayface? That's easy. That is what this whole episode has been about. The difficulties of reforming yourself, or in Ethan's case, literally reforming yourself. Once everyone knows you committed a crime, most people don't want anything to do with you. It's hard to get a job, hard to make friends, hard to live a normal life. If people view you as a monster, why try so hard to act differently? It's a trap a lot of people fall into if they aren't willing to persevere and keep trying. You can get redemption, it just takes time and a lot of work. But then again, it's easy to lean back into a criminal life. You start getting tempted more and more to use your skills for villainy, which is captured so perfectly in Clayface. He has the power to look and sound like anyone. He can morph his body into a dangerous weapon no normal person can hope to fight against. And he has shown again and again that Batman and Joker, the two best fighters in Gotham, can't beat him in a one-on-one fight. And seeing Ethan, a good dude who we followed throughout season 1, get his life back together only to fall into these traps is heartbreaking. I want to make it clear, by the way, I'm not making excuses for criminals. There is no excuse for committing a crime. No excuse for hurting people or stealing their stuff. And we get a tear-jerking scene next as Ethan starts to morph again, telling Batman and Yin to take a good look at him, because this is the last time they will ever see Ethan Bennett. Batman and Yin look absolutely destroyed as they watch their friend Ethan vanish, leaving only Clayface. Turns out in the commotion, Batman passed Yin another freezing capsule, and she throws it at Clayface, who can see Yin has a new partner now. Joker and Clayface are locked up in Arkham Asylum, but it's not a happy ending. Bruce and Yin both agree that Ethan passed the point of no return, that they've both really lost their friend, and Clayface is the only thing remaining. It's a shame down the line they undo this dramatic change, but I don't care about that now. I care about this being one of the best episodes of the Batman. This is another shining example of why I think this cartoon is the very best Batman show. I was so emotionally destroyed by the time the credits rolled. It is such a dramatic and awesome story with serious consequences that even the most jaded fan can appreciate. Characterization, I'm giving a 7. This is peak character writing for the Batman. Ethan is portrayed brilliantly, struggling to not be Clayface, and everyone else is exceptionally good as well. Bruce, Yin, Joker, Strange, they're all amazing. The story is also getting a 7. The story of a criminal fighting his vices is always interesting, because you never know if they're going to conquer their vices or fall back into them. Entertainment gets a 5. The fighting is just as good as always, making the serious episode fun as well. Importance is getting a 6. I mean it when I say this. This is a must-watch episode of any Batman cartoon. You owe it to yourself to watch it. Episode 8, JTV. So we go from super dramatic and emotional to fun times galore with this episode. We open at Wayne Manor, where Bruce is enjoying a basketball game on his TV. Calm down, internet. When it is interrupted by Joker, who is out of Arkham again. I should really start a separate counter for this guy getting out. Bring down the board, it rolls up to 11. Joker is broadcasting to all of Gotham and says every time he brings his comedy to Arkham, he's met with silence. Since the media focuses on the tragic side of his career, he's broadcasting his own show, Joker and the Mayor. It premieres on the pirate network JTV as soon as he abducts his co-star. And to be honest with you, put your hands up if you would watch JTV with this version of the Joker. My hand is staying up. Batman and Yin head out to find the Joker, and Yin is joined by her new partner, Cash Tankinson. Yes! One of my favorite new characters from the Batman. He's basically if Johnny Cage was a cop. He is so goofy and he is so full of himself, I can't help but love the guy. And he's really funny thanks to the super funny voice of Patrick Warburton. Patrick is one of the funniest voice actors of all time, voicing characters like Kronk and Buzz Lightyear, among a million other characters. His voice is so good, it makes everything he says sound funny. I mean it, he could be given the absolute worst lines but still make them hilarious because he's just that good. As is this character, because in the first minute we've met him, not only does he speak in the third person all the time, but he also always wears sunglasses even at night. I love this guy so much. He says he's the first partner Yin had since Ethan, and it's clear Yin is still not over what happened in the last episode. Cash drives as recklessly as possible until they arrive at the mayor's office, where Joker is knocking everyone out and taking the mayor. Joker also thinks Cash is super funny before he punches the cop with a boxing glove, knocking him and Yin out. Joker takes the mayor into his limo where his thugs are waiting. And we have to bring the counter down again, because because his thugs, Punch and Judy, were arrested before and now they're just walking around. So the Arkham escape counter is now at 13. Batman saw this go down and goes after the clown as Cash takes a motorcycle to follow because he's so awesome. Batman fights one of the Joker's goons on the limo, but Joker cuts half the limo off to make his getaway. Cash corners Batman because he has mad skills, but Yin blinds Cash temporarily so Bats can get away. Okay, that part doesn't make much sense. Cash is wearing sunglasses. The light shouldn't have hurt his eyes. Joker and the mayor starts playing as we see the mayor tied to a lamppost and Joker sprays him with his gas and makes him smile. Joker shows off he's shooting on location at the mainstream bank and films it. Batman arrives to find the money stolen as Joker says in the next episode they are going to have a new co-star, Cash Tankinson. Cash wants to go after the Joker, but Yin says no because she doesn't want to lose another partner to the Joker. I really like this. It underlines her and Ethan's relationship and shows why they needed each other, and how even though she's not sobbing, this Clayface stuff has been really tough on her. She orders Cash to be put in a safe house, but he refuses, secretly going to find the Joker on his own. Bruce at the Batcave thinks if they send out a signal they can find where Joker is broadcasting from. The episode of JTV starts with the camera focusing on Cash. Yin calls to warn him, but he says if Joker's looking for Cash, it's payday. The man is a hero, he's an absolute icon, and if more people could be like Cash, we would have a better world. Cash finds the Joker, but the thugs ambush him from behind as Bruce figures out where the Joker is. The next JTV episode starts with a charity event. Oh, that's nice of the Joker. And the cause is saving Cash's life. A very worthy cause. Joker put him in this bunny board thing and tells Gotham to pony up the $1 million or Cash is toast. They actually do start getting calls, and one of them is a 50 from Grandma Cash, who asks Joker not to hurt her grandson. I need to know more about Cash's life. I bet his grandma was a super spy assassin. I'm calling it. Batman rides off as Joker reveals the good people of Gotham only donated $200, so Joker gasses Cash, making him smile. Batman arrives, but it's too late and Joker is gone. Fortunately, Alfred has figured out where Joker is broadcasting from. Since Joker isn't broadcasting from an active network, he's using a deactivated radio tower. Batman arrives to see Joker standing by as his thugs capture the Dark Knight. He says he has a new episode planned that will make the people of Gotham laugh even if it kills them, showing off tanks of Joker gas throughout the city. They are set to go off as soon as the last episode of JTV airs, while also writing off the mayor and Cash, showing them hung up high. Joker throws Batman in the ring and says this will be the final episode, a boxing match. He starts broadcasting as his gas starts to unleash. Joker puts on the gloves and shows off this fight is rigged with Joker pumping gas through the ropes. Batman doesn't care as he brought an air breather and goes to the tower to stop the broadcast and Joker gas. Joker and his goons reach the tower first, and we get a nice reference to the Adam West show as Joker puts bam and pow in the broadcast as Batman is fighting. The gas starts making the people of Gotham laugh as Yin runs out to help. Batman takes out the Joker goons while also wrecking the broadcast, which was connected to the gas pumps. Joker tries to cut the hostage's rope, but Batman handcuffs Joker to the tower saying he's been cancelled as Yin saves Cash and the mayor. Batman and Yin work together to keep them safe and Joker gets arrested again. The mayor and Cash are healed up and Cash tells Yin the bad news. He needs a break from the action and is taking a desk job, meaning he's not going to be a main character moving forward. That should not stand. The disappointment on my face when I heard that. I needed this guy to be a main character going forward. In fact, we all need to collectively stand up and ask for Cash to return in some form. The cartoons, the comics, the movies, this guy needs to come back ASAP. The episode ends with Yin telling Cash it's okay. She has someone else watching her back. Characterization I'm giving a 5. Cash alone brings this up to a 5, and even if he wasn't there, Yin is great showing off she misses Ethan and regrets not being able to help him. The story gets a 5. It's the classic Joker plot, but the format is really fun. Joker is running his own TV station. Entertainment gets a 6. 2 words, Cash Tankinson. I mean it, he is such a fun character. I wish he showed up more. Importance gets a 4. This is a bit of a follow-up episode for the Clayface storyline, so I'd say it's worth a watch. Episode 9, Ragdolls to Riches. We open with Felix the Cat? Okay, maybe I queued up the wrong episode. I kid. This is Batman, or rather this is Catwoman, breaking into this museum to steal the one and only drawing of the 1920s animation of Kitty Cat. Catwoman also got away the last time we saw her, so I'm not bringing down the Arkham escape counter. Unfortunately for her, she has some competition this time around, as this really creepy looking guy crawls out of the super small vents. This is Ragdoll, one of my favorite villains from this show. He was a minor villain from Batman's Rogues Gallery with the ability to fully contort his body to slip through through anything. He has this awesome voodoo doll costume with the X on his face, and he's always smiling, which always makes me like a weird character. We'll see why he's one of my favorites in a moment, but for now he's voiced by Jeff Bennett, a great voice actor who has voiced a ton of characters like Kowalski, Johnny Bravo, and the Joker in the next Batman cartoon. Ragdoll is here for the cat drawing and shows off why I like him so much. The creepy way he moves around. He can twist his head all the way around and feels almost no pain. He swings his limp arms around and he uses them to trap Catwoman. Batman arrives and we see this awesome fight between him and Ragdoll because he integrates his power into his fighting style and it looks amazing. Ragdoll gets the better of Batman and steals the drawing while Catwoman also escapes. Back at her apartment, Selina is upset that Ragdoll stole her catch, but is ready to find her next job. She attends a fancy party scouting for her next rich person to rob when she spots Bruce Wayne at the bar. She introduces herself as a fundraiser and they agree to have dinner at his place. They leave as Ragdoll rolls up in civilian clothes, spotting Bruce Wayne. After dinner at the Wayne, Selina excuses herself and takes photos of all the famous art pieces and wonders why the only guy in Gotham with her style is Batman. Alfred meanwhile finds a box at the door and it's Ragdoll who pops out. So this guy contorted himself into a box, taped himself up, and sent himself to the Waynes. That is so goofy and I love it. Ragdoll jumps into the place to steal whatever he likes. Bruce and Selina arrive and they can't do anything because they don't want to reveal their secrets to one another. They both decide to let him go but secretly put tracking devices on his bag. They both suit up and go after Ragdoll, who rides on a moped by the way. Batman stops Ragdoll but Catwoman gets the better of both of them and makes off with the loot while Ragdoll also gets away. Later, Selina admits she wants a prize that excites her and she sees on the news that Bruce bought a clock tower built by his great-great-grandfather. This interests Selina because there is a rumor a mobster stashed the cat's eyes there, a pair of emeralds. This was set up by Bruce because Catwoman can't resist this treasure and Ragdoll wants to get even with Catwoman. Later, Bruce is giving a tour of the clock tower and Selina is there looking for a place to search. They talk outside and it's flirty while Ragdoll finds the clock tower as well. Later that night, Catwoman and Ragdoll are searching the clock tower as Batman arrives to take them down, starting this awesome triple threat match. Ragdoll traps Batman in between gears to unmask the vigilante, but Catwoman saved him, saying she likes the mystery. Ragdoll falls in between gears and it looks like he's been crushed, but he's Ragdoll, so that doesn't happen. He also found the emeralds in the gears, so Batman and Catwoman have to work together to stop him. The fight is amazing with great animation that looks like it belongs in a high-budget anime. They all fight over the emeralds, with each of them getting the upper hand at some point before Batman demands Catwoman hand them over since they rightfully belong to Bruce Wayne. Ragdoll steals the jewels while these two flirt, but they both take him down as Batman traps him in the gears. Catwoman gets the jewels and is about to run off, but Batman gives her the death stare and she gives them up. She is determined though and vows to get them from Bruce. Selina has dinner with Bruce and brings up the emeralds, and he reveals he sold them for 100 grand and gives the check to Selina for the charity of her choice. Selina is both disappointed and surprised by this. She's upset the emeralds are gone, sure, but this is when she realizes that Bruce may be more than meets the eye. The next day, Bruce calls the bank and confirms Selina did donate the check to the Gotham Pet Shelter, making Bruce think there is more to her than she lets on. Yeah, this romance tease goes nowhere, which is a shame. By the time season 4 rolls around, they drop the plotline, and I have to ask why. First off, this isn't super connected to the comic continuity. You can do whatever you want. If you want Catwoman to turn good and date bats, you should do it. Second, there are like no girls in the show. We get Batgirl in season 3 and Yin in the first 2 seasons, but other than that, it's pretty much a boys show. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, but there are tons of female characters in the Batman comics, and you could have brought more over. Characterization, I'm giving a 4. Characters are pretty strong in this one. We get to see all the sides of Batman and Catwoman, as both their civilian and vigilante personas, and Ragdoll is good too. The story, I'm giving a 3. The story is not the strongest, just Catwoman and Ragdoll are competing, but it's a passable plot. Entertainment, I'm giving a 6. This is an exceptionally fun episode. The way Ragdoll moves makes the fights really dynamic, and his inclusion makes the Batman-Catwoman storyline flow better with great action. Importance gets a 5. It continues and arguably finishes the Catwoman-Batman romance storyline, so I'd say it's worth a watch. Episode 10, The Butler Did It. We open this episode at Wayne Manor, where Alfred takes one of the valuable vases and Batman chases after him. Alfred runs into the forest where Batman corners him and says Alfred is fired. This is all a dream, however, as Bruce walks into his room with the news that Alfred is in the papers for his upcoming charity work. Alfred gets out of bed to see he's wearing his clothes and his shoes are muddy, along with having the key to the vase case. They see the vase is gone, and according to the security footage, Alfred did indeed take it. Bruce thinks something is wrong since he knows Alfred wouldn't do this on his own. Later, Bruce is giving a speech to the High Priest of Zarkana for helping him with his charity and for helping him while he was abroad. The priest has traveled all this way to donate the Eye of Zarkana for the charity. Bruce and the 2 other guys get their photos taken, but when they go inside, they find one of the guy's butlers took all of his famous paintings. Alfred is looking for the vase until the clock strikes 8, and he he goes into a trance, hearing a voice telling him to bring the valuables to him. Alfred goes into Bruce's safe and grabs a ton of money, but Bruce puts a tracker on him. He suits up and finds Alfred riding along with the butler from before and a third guy, all of them in a trance. Batman figures out Alfred is under hypnosis and they get into a fight. Batman struggles to fight Alfred and gets knocked down while the butlers arrive to meet the mastermind, Spellbinder, played by Michael Mace. Spellbinder is another minor Batman villain from the comics that has had a ton of redos and retcons in the past. The power set stays mostly the same though, which is to mess with people's heads. He also appeared in the Batman Beyond series, although that was a very different version. I think he's an okay villain. I mean, he's not great, but he's fine. It's just hypnosis. It's not that interesting of a power. Little fun fact for you though, originally this was going to be the Mad Hatter, but because he was originally penned to be in the Christopher Nolan trilogy, they weren't allowed to use him here. Spellbinder floats in the air and shows off his third eye, which he can use to get inside Batman's head and make him think he's seeing a huge monster that looks really cool, admittedly. Batman tries to make himself realize these are illusions, but the fire feels very real. Spellbinder summons these panda things to attack, and they take down Batman. Turns out they are just the butlers in disguise, but the Batwave starts waking him up, so Spellbinder books it with the goods. Bruce runs a scan on Alfred and shows that he's fine. It's Spellbinder who's doing this. Bruce explains during his time in the Far East, he went to a monk temple where they studied the mystic power of the third eye, a state of awareness so pure it could turn visions into reality. Bruce thinks that Spellbinder is after the Zarkana gemstone and used the butlers to steal it for him. Alfred puts himself in lockup as Bruce meditates to train his mind to defend against Spellbinder. Batman stakes out the charity as the High Priest brings the Eye of Zarkana. The clock strikes 8 o'clock and the billionaires get brainwashed. Alfred, watching this, figures out what happened. The photographer who took his picture along with the other butlers and the billionaires was Spellbinder, using the camera flashes to trigger hypnotic suggestions. This is a big problem because Bruce's photo was taken as well, so when the clock strikes 8, he gets brainwashed as well. Which is bad because if Spellbinder figures out he brainwashed Batman, Bruce's secret will be revealed. Alfred remembers the Batwave could break the spell, but he's locked in this room. The High Priest presents the Eye of Zarkana, but it's missing as the billionaires have taken it. They bring it to Spellbinder as Batman arrives as well, making Spellbinder wonder if Batman is Bruce. But Alfred wakes him up through the comms at the last moment. This makes Spellbinder think this was just a ruse and gets inside Batman's head again. The Dark Knight asks why a humble monk is acting like a criminal, and Spellbinder reveals the Eye of Zarkana can enhance his psychic powers. With the stone in his possession, he creates a nightmare world to torture Batman with some crazy monsters. While Spellbinder is a little bland, you can't say the same about his monsters. They look really cool. It looks like Batman is finished, but he remembers his training and keeps saying his mind perceives its own reality. This transforms him into a giant bat who fights the dragon monster, and Batman wakes up. Batman easily takes down Spellbinder from there, and the gem is returned for a great auction price. The episode ends with Bruce and Alfred happy that everything stolen was returned. Characterization, I'm giving a 2. Characters are pretty weak in this episode. I mean, they're fine with the standout being Bruce trusting Alfred no matter what, but Spellbinder has no character. The story is also getting a 2. Hypnosis plots are usually boring in action cartoons. I have no idea why, maybe they just don't interest me. Entertainment gets a 3. This one's a little higher because we see some cool monsters, but because they're monsters, there isn't much fighting, so it can be a bit boring. Importance, I'm giving a 1. There is very little reason to watch this episode. It feels very filler, but it's an okay episode, so it's not a complete waste. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Next time we're gonna go over the finale of season 2, and if you really like these videos, I'll continue on with the Batman. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all later.